But I think that it becomes the most beneficial when you take advantage of the lending side of the business. And what does that mean? The most important thing is fixed money, right? If you can get fixed money, 30-year fixed money on an investment property, you don't have to touch it for the next 30 years. A lot of the other money, like we talked about, is 5-year balloons, right? So every 5 years you're refinancing. So if you have one buddy, for example, and you guys want to gather up a down payment and both be on the title and one person be on the mortgage, now you can take advantage of the lending where one person...
You better have a airtight operating agreement.
One person can be on the first mortgage and both people can be on the title, and the next building, the second person can be on the mortgage and both people on the title.
Can I do a very brief, boring explanation as to why? Do you want me to do it?
Sure, go ahead.
So essentially what you're getting at is instead of buying this property, you and me, in an LLC, we're still going to have an operating agreement that's going to dictate how we're going to do this. But you're going to buy the first building we find under your own name. So you could take advantage of getting a fixed interest rate 30-year mortgage.
Yes.
So now we have a lower monthly payment. We have a lower interest rate. We know we're not going to have to refinance in 5 or 10 years. We've just house hacked. Literally, that's the definition of house hacking. Really good point. And then our agreement would be, hey, next time, Joey, since I already used my personal purchase on this one, you're going to do it on the next one, but we're still going to be 50-50 partners. I kind of rolled my eyes and made a comment. That makes our operating agreement so much more important because now, granted, we're both going on title, so that we're protected from a certain standpoint, but we no longer share an entity. I think if you do it that way, it has to be like a brother, a sister, or someone that you really, really trust. But I will say that's brilliant. That is really a great way to do it. Because to your point, the difference between 30-year fixed at 4.5 versus a 5-1 ARM, 5.5, 6, and then you're going to have to refinance it. Who knows what it looks like in 5 years? That monthly payment becomes pretty significantly different, right?
You're reducing your risk of interest rates increasing in the future, right?
Yeah.
So for the next 30 years, if the rent's $1,000, what's it going to be in 15 years, right? Can you get a 3% inflation increase on rent year over year, stacking for 15 years?
We would assume yes.
Fixed rate. Right. So what happens if at year 5 you have a 3% interest rate, and what are rates right now? 6.5%.
Right.
You're ballooning, and it could be.
I try not to look now. I'm waiting until everyone runs through these doors celebrating and says, "We're back to 3s and 4s."
They've come down a little bit, but.
Okay, but wait, James. What if we get a fixed interest rate and we don't like that? Like it's 6.5 right now. I don't want to lock myself into that.
You can refinance.
We're still allowed to refi if we get a better rate, but no one could ever force us to take a worse rate.
A lot of investment money has prepayment penalties. Owner-occupant loan isn't going to have a prepayment penalty. So the fees to refinance a fixed rate as an owner-occupant is going to be much less than an LLC loan as an investor.
Yeah, this has been awesome. I really think what you are doing and helping these folks with is we're taking house hacking. We're like really house hacking now, perfectly legally, by the way, manipulating every single factor that we can, right? So you're taking it. It's not just as simple as, oh, we're going to buy a house and live in one and then we'll sell it. It's like, no, we're going to take advantage of the financing, possible partnership opportunities, with all the way down to which unit is smarter to live in. So you've really got this down to science.
Something else like I do that might not be, and I don't know how you feel about this, but like on my personal 3-flat that I house hack, I depreciate as well. And that depreciation offsets some of the income, right? You might not necessarily depreciate an asset that you are planning on owning on the short term or something that you own personally. I kind of do two things. I have this 30-year outlook that we talked about earlier on, right? I'm never going to sell it. And it's an investment tool that I live in. So I'm depreciating it as well, which increases the cost basis. Not to like get too deep into it, but I'm also a real estate professional, so it offsets income, right? So it's doing two things. It's offsetting my personal income, and if there is enough depreciation, and it's offsetting the building's income. So living there, living for free, I'm also not paying taxes on the excess cash flow because I'm depreciating an asset that I have a long-term outlook. You might not do that if you house hack and you need that down payment to then go buy your single family home.